What was the key to building your personal brand and your reputation and being able to kind of package that story to get people to trust you and come to you?
So that's a great question. So the first thing I did when I said I'm really going to go out on my own is I invested in a really strong website. I felt like that presence was so important. But then
Mhm.
secondly, I drew on what I was good at. I was really good at writing. So I actually approached several publications that I believed could benefit from career advice, job search, resumes, all of that. And I said, hey, can I write a few articles a month for you free of charge, but give me the byline?
Right.
I approached the editors of these publications on LinkedIn, and I sent out quite a few, and I didn't get responses from every, but I got responses from a couple, and that led to me starting to publish in that space. I was able to take those articles and share them on my own social media, my own blog, and slowly but surely that built my credibility. It built my
Mm.
confidence, and people started to find me.
What are some of the key things that you start with a client in really helping them clarify what it is that the story they're trying to tell?
So when people are clear on what they want to do next, they know that this is the role or the industry that they want to target, then part of my process is to I do a in-depth interview where we talk about their career literally from beginning, way however long ago it was, to whatever they're doing now. And with each of the roles, I always want to understand what brought them to the role. What was the problem that that role was trying to solve.
Mhm.
But then we always do a reflection and say, at the end of the day, when you walked away, or in this current role, as you're preparing to walk away,
Mhm.
where do you feel like you left your mark? What are you proudest of? And 9 times out of 10, that information is what gives me clarity on someone's strengths, um, and their purpose, and it aligns with what they want to do next. It's so
Mhm.
fascinating to see it happens over and over
Yeah.
again. But just that, that those simple questions can really be very revealing.
Mhm.
When people aren't clear on what they want to do next, and that happens a lot, especially during these times of crises where people say, I need to make a change, know what I don't want to do, but I don't know what I'm good at.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like it's very important to really understand, what you're good at based on what you know about yourself and what other people have told you you're good
Mhm.
at. Um, what you like to do, and then what the market is bearing. Because if you're really, really good at, I don't know, churning butter, and
Mhm.
that might not be a skill that the market's going to pay you for. So you have to sort of come up with that intersection of what you're
Mhm.
good at, what you like to do, and what the market will pay for.
What is the biggest mistake that you see or that lots of individuals do with their resume that is probably, kind of getting them overlooked or just passed when recruiters are looking at resumes?
Sure. So I'll talk about resume, and then I'll also talk about job search.
Mhm.
With resume, I find that many people do not lead off with information that tells the reader why you are a perfect fit for the
Mm.
role. I go back to my journalism roots. People read resumes the same way you and I read the news. Think about how we're learning what's going on in the world right now. Whether you open up Twitter or a news site, you look at a headline. If the headline grabs you, you read that first paragraph, and usually that's it.
Mhm.
You need those same components in your resume, because those components tell you what the story is going to be about and tell you what you want to come back to read later on when you have more time. So you need a headline that says, I'm an astronaut, I'm a chef, I'm a financial services manager. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Mhm.
Um, and then the paragraph that follow needs to include information that says this is why I'm the perfect fit, and how I craft that is I will identify points in the job description that are the points that the people are clearly asking for, and
Mhm.
then details about their career. So I don't describe them with a bunch of adjectives. I don't say that they're, results driven, innovative, all that kind of stuff. I use details. Um, when it comes to job search, I think the biggest mistake that people make is they try to go about landing their next role by simply applying online to lots and lots of opportunities. Um, the process of applying online has gotten so inundated that it's really a poor return on your investment. You have to apply to like 100 jobs to get 3 responses now, which is miserable. So many roles. What happens is by the time the posting has come out, networking and recruiter outreach has been happening sort of behind the scenes. So by the time the postings come out, there's already a pipeline of people in place. So you
Right.
are better off figuring out companies that you want to target, people that you know, or people that you want to get to, that you need to know in those companies,
Mm-hmm.
and start conversations to find out about opportunities beforehand. So ideally the recruiter or the person will call you and say, hey, the posting's coming out, go apply now.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got a person on the other end that's looking out for your resume.
Mm-hmm. This happens a lot with the women we work with, where they don't, there's a bit of a resistance or a hesitancy, I should say, of
Yeah.
really leveraging or asking help from their community. What do you, what's your advice to that?
So yeah, people, it's very uncomfortable for a lot of people. So what I would say is you're not necessarily asking for a job. You are, I don't remember who taught me this, but it's about reframing what you're doing. You are seeing if there's an opportunity to help
Mm-hmm.
someone or a company by using your skills. The other thing I would say is a lot of times these conversations are not about, hey, do you know about an opening? It's, can you tell me how you broke into this market? Can you tell me how you were able to move from Chicago to New York? Can you tell me what it is about this role that you really like? And so you're really gathering information.
Mm-hmm.
And while you're doing that, you are cementing an already existing relationship or perhaps building a new one.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and those relationships are what make you more likely to be top of mind when someone is looking, when they have a need and they need someone to help fill it. In terms of identifying transferable skills, job postings are a gold mine for that. Um, Look at the bottom third of the resume and look at the qualifications, those
Mm-hmm.
required qualifications. If you meet 70 to 80%, I would say it is a role that is applicable. What I do when I'm writing the document is I will, when someone's trying to particularly make an industry switch, is I will remove industry references wherever I can, because I don't want to position them as an industry expert. I want to position them as a someone with really strong skills that are
Mm-hmm.
applicable.
Right.
I include a skills section below after that lead paragraph I was talking about that
Mm-hmm.
lists those skills that I have that person has that align with what the person needs. The other thing I found is again focusing on the results and
Mm-hmm.
what at the end of the day what you're proudest of. That often is you're solving pain points that are common to lots of different companies. Lots of different industries need help with improving processes, saving money, growing, building customers. Um, but I will say that making a career pivot requires more legwork. Applying online is not going to be your friend. As hard as it is when it is when it is a perfect fit, it's even harder for job searchers, career changers, because when you're applying online, the person with the right keywords wins. And if you haven't worked in healthcare and you want to pivot to healthcare, there's no way I can put healthcare all over your resume because it doesn't. It's being
Right.
dishonest.
Mm-hmm.
So you won't do well. So what you need to do is really have more of those conversations. Try to make the case that this is a logical next step and that you're worth taking a risk on. People are willing to take risks in a way that you know applicant tracking software systems are
Mm-hmm.
not.
So how do you coach the women when you're saying, okay, let's look at this job rec, you match it 70 or so percent, but they're hesitant to say, oh, no, 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 this is not for me. What do you do in those situations?
Well, I show them the math that shows
Uh-huh.
that women tend to shy away from that when men don't.
Uh-huh.
And seeing that men land often is incentive for women. I often feel like some job postings are unicorn job postings. I mean, that's the ideal candidate, but
Mm-hmm.
sometimes the ideal candidate doesn't exist. Or when they get to meet the person, meet the candidate in person, some of those ideal qualifications go by
Mm-hmm.
the wayside because they weren't deal breakers.
Right.
Um, and so that's where I said that's the power of the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't you don't need to apply for this job right now. What you need to do is have conversations about that job
Mhm.
and about how people got into those roles. And
Mhm.
um, those, especially when you talk to people that, I encourage my candidates, talk to people that made a pivot into this role, maybe from somewhere else.
Mhm.
LinkedIn is a great CRM to help you figure out where those people came from, and try to have, when you have those conversations, I found that the advice that people give, it helps to give women the confidence they need to go for it as well.